Hello and welcome back to W Rated, the podcast where we willingly watch the world's worst rated movies. Today we are back with our beloved Bottom 100, aka the worst rated films on IMDb, and are joined by two very special guests. Before we kick off for any new listeners, my name's Daisy, and as always, I'm joined by the podcast co-creator, editor, and host, Claire. Claire, how are you doing? And are you looking forward to getting back to the bottom 100 after a few years of Razzie Mania?
I'm good. This is going to be a bit messy for me because between watching this film, I want to say on Monday or Tuesday, I've since then gone through a redundancy process, gone through a job interview, and gone to a child's birthday party. So I'm not even entirely sure if I can remember the film.
We like to keep it interesting, you know.
I prepped for so many different things that I no longer remember what prep is for what.
This bodes well for me because usually this is me, so I feel slightly more calm and collected.
I listened
but
to 3 different podcasts about this, but then immediately turned them off and went deep into interview prep. So yeah.
So you might start talking about, you know, what experience you've had and why this role is really good for you, and
get myself a job on the Mortal Kombat panel, which
perfect.
I feel like they must get great hazard pay.
And on that note, I am very glad to say that we do have some help for us. Not just one person's extra pair of eyes, ears, hands, etc., but two. I'm thrilled to introduce for today's episode very special guests in the form of close friends of the podcast, Matt Brothers and Daryl Bear, aka the creators behind podcast Is Paul Dano Ok? Guys, welcome, finally.
Hello. I just want to say this is Daryl's episode. I am completely hijacking because he would have recorded in my lounge anyway. I'm glad to be here.
I've brought my emotional support Matthew with me. It's fine.
Anyone knows if anyone pods with us, we come as a package like this on the same screen.
Indeed.
Well, the question, Matt, we do have you joining us probably in the chronology of this podcast quite soon. Is Daryl going to come with you now?
Oh no, I'm not going to drag him into that as well. He's very well covering Scary Movie 5.
Yeah, I don't think you could.
With that howl of laughter.
No. All right. I'm going to pull out the dad card there and just be like, no, I'm going to be calm. Got a kid. Sorry.
So don't worry, I will be back to help you through that mess. But I'm also here today.
So Matt, you have joined Daryl's choice for this podcast episode. So Daryl, I would love for you to do the honors of introducing the film we're talking about today and telling us a little bit about why you wanted to come on and talk about it.
Right. Well, yeah, cool. So this is John R. Leonetti's sequel to the very successful 1995 Paul W.S. Anderson joint. Yeah, this is again an interesting one, a bit of a rush sequel 2 years after the first, and yeah, this holds a very dear place in my heart. That's actually bullshit. No, this is the complete opposite of that. In fact, this came out when I was but a boy of 14, and basically, I was massively Mortal Kombat pilled as a young tween into teens. And loved the first film. I love the first film to this day, not past tense. And yeah, I was super excited to see the second one. Where I come from, which is the arsehole of Essex, there's no cinemas nearby back then. So the closest place that was showing Mortal Kombat: Annihilation was Cambridge. So I went up
Lakeside.
That would have required driving, and me, a boy of 14, no. So train, Cambridge, and I went up with a whole bunch of mates who we got to outside the cinema, and we just went, should we not?
What?
And so we didn't. And so this would have been a DVD rental. No, sorry, VHS rental.
So did you just all go out and cause havoc?
Oh no, we just
Annihilated
got
Cambridge.
high and
14-year-old boy thing around Cambridge.
Yeah, horrible little Essex Noilers. Yeah, terrible. So yeah, this was a VHS rental, and this was one of those, one of those formative, things that I'm looking forward to can be dog shit movies.
Can I ask, at the point you went to see it, and then decide not to? Did you already hear rumours that it
No,
was bad?
no, not at all.
So it could have been an incredible sequel to a film you
been.
like.
And I was a bit like conflicted for about 30 seconds, but I was also young and was just like, I'll catch it. I'm gonna live forever. I can watch this whenever. It's fine.
That's one of those like universes where the universe was trying to protect you.
A
The
little bit.
universe was like, if these boys go into this cinema, that's going to be a
Forever
formative
changed.
moment
Yeah.
and not positive. Let them wreak havoc in a different formative way.
This is the
Yeah.
summer that this is the same year that I would actually go and see Batman and Robin, which I also know is on your list.
I know how
yeah.
much you hate that.
I don't hate it as much as the third one.
Hate that it's on the list, you mean? Not hate the movie.
Thank you. That is my biggest argument. I like Batman and Robin. I like all of them.
I don't mind it.
Understand how you can tell me that Batman and Robin is bad and tell me that the third one is good, because they are the same.
What's the third one?
It's the Jaws thing. Jaws. Everybody says that Jaws: The Revenge. Oh, it's the worst of the lot. It's the worst of the lot. No. The third one, the one set in the where is it? It's the, I want to say, it's not a water park. It's like a sea life center. That's the shit one. That's the worst of the worst, because they throw the 3D. We get this weird misremembering. It's Superman 4 versus 3 as well.
There's another one that follows that rule.
Again, you're just literally naming all of them from the podcast from the podcast list.
Yeah, the third Batman film is Batman Forever. But right. Batman and Robin was a very formative cinema trip for me, so I can't ever hate that film.
No, fair enough. But yeah, no, this was again VHS thing, and then I think I owned like an ex rental Blockbuster DVD of this that had it was a slightly off orange silver disc to it, which I watched again. That whole thing of like, maybe if I watch this again, I might like this now. And cards on the table. Matt and I on Friday decided, right, we're gonna get on it, and we watched 1 and 2 back to back with former podcaster / wife Jeanette Bear. Sat there on the other side of the sofa, just on her phone, just looking up every now and then, going, huh. Like, and yeah, we I think we got a bit more out of it, but mainly because we were drinking. So yeah.
I went to the Wes Anderson exhibit that's currently on at the Design Museum on Sunday of last week, and then I came home and watched the Paul W.S. Anderson movie, and I was like, this was so insulting to everything.
It's art, man.
It's art. If you compare these two, like you look at what Paul W.S. Anderson does on a much lower budget for that first one versus this, and you go, holy shit, this guy is a visionary. Like,
I mean, you saw my review, my letterboxd review, for anyone that hasn't seen it, for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, is, having watched this, the first film looks like a Scorsese picture. I thought the first film wasn't good, and then I watched Annihilation, and I don't retroactively change my reviews, but boy, did I think I needed to.
Well, the weird thing is we all think of certain films as good or bad, and then if you see enough worse ones in the same category, you go, I'm sorry, you're owed an apology. Actually, you're top 5.
Is this where you want to lay down some context for these people? This is the 5th year that Matt and I have done something starting in May, June, that we call affectionately White Guy Karate Summer.
I love it. It's such a good...
I was waiting for the time to bring this in.
This is such a fun thing that we get to talk about in drips and drabs.
How did it start?
Because it's, funnily enough, not a podcast thing. It's a real life thing.
It's just for us.
And it started through the film quiz that we all go to. Daisy is on our team. Claire, occasional team member / occasional rival, depending which way the wind's blowing.
I'll go wherever I'm invited, and I don't care.
It started there because one of the soundtrack rounds, it was films beginning with the letter N, and somehow you recognised a theme from No Retreat, No Surrender, which is a White Guy Karate Summer film, and then you got me the box set as a birthday present, I think, and then we kicked up. We watched it one night, and we're like, let's keep doing this, because we zeroed in on some sort of ground rules or guidelines, which is that these are specifically films from mid-80s to late 90s, in which there was that massive boom of VHS movies, straight-to-video movies, and films which starred, like in a lead role, somebody who was a martial artist martial artist first and an actor a very distant second, to the point that their credit would come up at the start and it would say starring so and so, and just list off their karate championship wins. You know, it's that sort of thing.
Wow.
And this had masses of huge audience back then, and so you get films that are either done in the States by Asian film directors or done in Asia by American directors. And it's funny seeing which way it goes, whether it's somebody's view of America versus people just blowing stuff up for cheap in Thailand or whatever. And it's where the Street Fighter 1994 movie went as well, in Southeast Asia. And this is now, so we did it every summer as like a kind of, I'd go around Daryl's because we live very close by. We'd get some beers in because they're the only way you can watch these anyway. If we were just sat at home alone watching them for the sake of watching them, we'd be insane. But with a few beers, and the gamut of good to bad is crazy. And so we've seen some real dreck where you can barely class it as a film because you can't see shit and the boom's in shot all the time, and people are just, there's a few people out there who we are now
You sort of sound like Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner. I've seen things.
I've seen things. And then we did it like the following summer, and this is now the beginning of our 5th year doing it. And so when we realized it was officially May, so we've never started earlier than May. It's got to be May, but it was also a very hot 1st of May. And we realized Mortal Kombat is perfect for this, really, because it is a bunch of white guys doing karate in a fantastical setting.
Not to spoil our future top 3, but one of the things I did suggest was like fighting karate, Asian fighting movie, but I was like, I don't think I've seen a single one. So I was like, I can't contribute. So actually if anyone's watching on video, you may have seen me just writing and typing. Turns out the top 3 we are doing, I have exactly 4 films to pick from. So it's a fun one.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, so we just rolled that into the beginning of that. And funny enough, we've actually seen through doing these white guy karate movies a correlation between early 90s fighting video games and these films. So actors like Cynthia Rothrock, who is great, and she started out in some really great Hong Kong action films in the 80s with Michelle Yeoh. Like, she's incredible. She can kick for days. Bit saddened by some of her later choices in terms of the bulk of these films that she's in, but there's tons of people like her who are clearly the basis for people like Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat, and other ones where it's like, this is a Street Fighter guy. Was it King of the Kickboxers has a guy that's basically DJing in that, and there's a chap called Billy Blanks who's a bassist for like a load of people. So
he's the Tybo guy from the 90s.
Yeah,
ask your mums. But like, yeah, he was like the Tybo guy, but then also had this mad career as a martial artist who's in a bunch of like run and gun action films as well.
Very sweaty man.
Very sweaty man.
People like Bolo Young, the widest man.
The widest man you'll ever
James Hong, the oldest man. We've seen them all.
Yeah.
There's a whole other world out there.
Yeah.
The 90s has a lot to answer for, but they did let people sweat.
They loved a bit of sweat, actually.
There's no in modern movies. And like, I'm not saying I want everyone to be sweaty, but no one's sweaty.
Everybody's hot, nobody's sweaty.
How do I
think about it?
How do I segue that back into
good luck
scheduled programming? There's no way for me to make a pithy comment there, but I would love to hear from you, Claire, what your relationship was with the Mortal Kombat series, the games, etc. And the guys can tell us a little bit more about that as well before we go into this specific sequel. And maybe we could talk about the first film a little bit here, and then we can go dive into the sequel, because I do think it's important we talk about both.
Yeah. My relationship is that I definitely thought I knew what Mortal Kombat was, and then I sat down last Sunday and I watched the first Mortal Kombat film from 1995 and realised that I knew what Street Fighter was, and I have no idea what Mortal Kombat.
Same.
Turns out we were a Street Fighter family. We were not a Mortal Kombat family. And I was like trying to Google the character names. I was like, I've never seen this person in my life. I was looking for the girl with the white buns and the blue...
Chun-Li.
Yeah, that's who I was looking for. So yeah, it turns out I have absolutely zero relationship with the Mortal Kombat franchise. I'm so glad you're here, Daryl. And Matt too. But yeah, it turns out I have absolute zero relationship with this. I watched the 1995 film on Sunday, and I watched Annihilation on Monday. It's currently now the next Sunday.
That's like the weirdest Craig David rendition I've ever heard.
Literally, Sunday I watched Mortal Kombat. Monday I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Tuesday I watched Garden State for your guys' podcast. What a whiplash.
Which we just recorded.
Yeah.
Wednesday I did interview prep. Thursday I cried, and here we are now.
There'll need to be some tweaks to get some rhyming in there, but I think we could make it into a...
It's the millennial 7 days depression era.
Yeah. On that note, you're really, really making it hard for me to take a look.
I have sat through so many hours of our fucking Razzies editing this. I'm gonna have to I will suffer through this again when I have to edit this into coherence. So.
And this is why I need to start pulling my weight when it comes to doing some of the edits, so that you are not alone in that. I totally agree with you. I think even less so. Like I conflated Street Fighter, but then I don't know enough about Street Fighter either. I just knew it was a side scroll, knew it was a fighting game. Definitely like played some form of it at some point in an arcade or like on an older console. But yeah, I was watching it going, oh, I know absolutely zero about this. But it was cool. I was locked in. I recognized sort of the mask that Sub-Zero wears, you know, all of those guys.
The men in pajamas.
But I'm thinking the men in pajamas. I'm thinking that might even be from the more recent reboot kind of
like
era.
The
posters.
Character of the 2021, right?
I don't know. I've not seen it. Have you guys seen the 2021?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we had this conversation off air between other podcasts. I've purposely not watched the 2021, where I realised I have no relationship with Mortal Kombat. I just watched Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation as a direct sequel. Purposely not watched the new one. But, spoiler, myself and Daisy are going to an early screening of the sequel to the 2021 film. And Daisy, did you know that Daryl and Matt will be at the same screening?
Oh my god!
So we are going to meet in the bar afterwards and do a little reunion in person.
How exciting!
Instant reaction for our YouTube channel of our thoughts and feelings on the new Mortal Kombat 2026. So
I love it.
Between this recording and then I will be watching the 2021 film.
And the same for me as well. I'm very excited now. I mean, I was excited anyway, but very much more excited now. So it's been the same for me. Watched Mortal Kombat 1 in preparation for this. Watched Annihilation, I think the day after, so I think we're back on the end of last week now. But I've been watching a lot of I actually watched the history of the Mortal Kombat franchise because I was really interested to see what was going on, not like a timeline or anything, but just in terms of like the games and what was going on at the time and when that kind of came out and up to this time. Made me realize I've actually got one of the games on my PlayStation because it was a free release at some point on PlayStation Plus, so I'd be really interested to give that a go. So yeah, it was all pretty fresh, and that probably explains why I felt the way I did about them both. But before we do that, Daryl, Matt, do you want to tell us a little bit more specifically about your relationship with the franchise and maybe even your thoughts on the first film specifically before we dive into Annihilation?
Me? All right. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, this like, again, definitely Mortal Kombat household. I enjoyed Street Fighter, had Street Fighter 2 Turbo, loved that for the Mega Drive. But for me, it was all about the blood and the gore and all of that and the fatalities. Played a lot of Mortal Kombat, the first one, like around friends, and then I really got into it, tuned in from the second game. The second game, I'd still rate it as one of the best video game sequels in terms of the one-upmanship and what they did with the first. Then I had Mortal Kombat. Was it what's the third one? Mortal Kombat 3, whatever the special edition. Mortal Kombat 3. That's the one I had. So that was pretty neat, and that was kind of the beginning to the end of my relationship with the games. For a good long while, I've dabbled here and there, like you know, thanks to PlayStation Plus as things later on. But like, I don't have the the dexterity of digits to do all of the quarter back to do all the
You
moves
mean you
and
don't
shit.
just smash the buttons?
I'm not built that way. I'm just not. But you know what I did start doing, and this is like a this is kind of a lockdown thing. Matt can attest to this. Around the time that the 2021 film was coming out, I discovered on YouTube a channel called like MK Fire and Ice. And what this guy does is he does supercuts of. So the recent games from like 9 upwards, they've got like dedicated stories, like plots.
So much lore.
So much lore. Lore spelt with a K. The K is silent. And but they're like, it's like, the first Mortal Kombat 9 is like, oh, it's 2 hours worth of movie of like, whatever. And then by the time the most recent one, it's like 6 or 7 hours worth of shit. So I just like would idly put this on when I'm washing the dishes, doing the ironing, whatever the fuck. And it's just like, if you ever want to feel like you're on hallucinogenics without actually having to fucking take anything, you either watch one of these videos or scroll through the plot of something like the Tekken games or something and go, what the fuck? What? It's awesome in how like just the sheer magnitude of the mentalness behind some poor bastards. They're writing this stuff just like it's just crazy.
I'm very glad that both Daisy did a bit of research and that you are both here, because I, while watching the first film, was like, let me just hop on the Mortal Kombat Wikipedia and understand the lore. And I went
back off again.
Absolutely fucking
Yeah.
I
the bin with that.
The worst thing about all this is I'm very butthurt that I recently saw a review for this podcast that was given to us 5 years ago, but I only found it recently, that said we are shallow and under-researched. And then I'm there going, you know what? I am a fucking shallow, under-researched bitch.
What
I'm
I
not
will
reading
say,
5,000 words on the fucking history of Mortal
what I
Kombat.
will say is, if the person listening thinks we're under-researched and they know more than us, why are you listening?
Yeah, your dick in a book. Fuck off.
Well, I would be really butthurt about that for like weeks, and then and I was trying to run away. You know what? Maybe I am a shallow, under-researched bitch. I don't care. But
Proud
you
of
guys
it.
are all gonna save it. You're all gonna save it.
I did.
No, now I'm sitting here thinking, like, what was that about? Never mind.
I think, based on the timing, I think it was the 365 days episode. And I'm like, well,
it wasn't Matthew Turner, was it?
Firstly, the film had been out for 2 weeks, so there was no history to
There was
analyse.
really there was nothing online about it at all.
There's nothing. And also, yeah, I'm sorry that we're 2 white women who were laughing about having sex on a boat. Sorry, the girls wanted some kicks for once. But, you know.
Anyway, sorry,
apologies.
Matt, what were you going to say? You were being under-researched.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm similar in that I was more of a Street Fighter guy. Street Fighter 2 again. My Spotlight co-host Paul, me and them have this rivalry to this day, which is always really annoying because they're really good and can always kick my ass at that fucking thing. But controversially, I guess my actual fighting game of choice is Killer Instinct, which was a 1995 sort of Mortal Kombat rip-off on the SNES, which is fucking great. It has the same sort of techno soundtrack, which is amazing.
Nice.
A whole roster of insane characters, including a Velociraptor and a skeleton like Jason the Argonaut, and
what's
a
the
ninja.
name of this again?
Killer Instinct. If I could pitch a movie for this, I'll do it. I would love to. TJ Combo, the boxer. You've got Orchid, the like special agent lady, Folgore, the big Terminator machine type thing. Really cool characters, and it also did the fatalities. Basically, it had very bloody stuff. But yeah, I think the Mortal Kombat games are almost like the Sonic franchise in that if you grew up in the 90s, you have 1, 2, and 3 on the original systems, and then all the later stuff is just like
it's a lot, man.
A mixed bag, and now it's starting to come back around, I guess, but I haven't played one in many times. I did also play Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero from 1997, which was slightly different. You ran around, you were just Sub-Zero running around a game.
Yeah, they tried a single player thing and failed miserably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they realise that's not why people enjoy playing those games.
Exactly.
It was also a piss poorly made game, and it was just frustrating to play. Just not great. And all of the like the story was done in like FMV cutscenes. So it and it just again very much like, I've heard some unfair things said about the film we're covering, that it's basically it's got porno parody vibes. The Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero is absolutely porno parody vibes. It's like, holy shit, how you getting away with this?
I think a lot of that, not to move too far ahead, is definitely down to the costuming, because the costumes and the wigs from this movie definitely look like they came out of a BDSM shop.
There's a step down from the 1995 film, despite the bloated budget for this in comparison.
Again, I think we can all agree everything in this movie is a step down.
So the thing with it, oh, fascinating.
Well, so that we could get to the ooves, do you guys want to tell us a little bit about what you thought about the first film, so that we can have a fair comparison, a benchmark, if you will, for the sequel?
I'll go really quick because I watched it for the first time the day before I watched Annihilation. It gave me Xena Warrior, charmed 90s TV show vibes, but I mean that positively. And I think my review was, if I was a 12-year-old boy in the 90s, I absolutely understand why this would have been the shit. Like, it was tactile, it was cheap, but it was cool. It's stuff that, like, I don't think you would have seen that much. And in 2026, I'm like, this is very naff. But I'm like, 12-year-old in the 90s, I would have been like, fuck yes. And that was pretty much where I left it. And I gave it 3 stars. I was like, not for me, but I'm sure it was for a lot of people. And that's where I left.
All right. Guys, do you want to go? Take it away?
No, you this time.
Yeah, I can't remember when I first saw this, but I was very aware of it following up stuff like Super Mario Brothers 1993 and Street Fighter 1994, and being like, oh, finally they've got one right, I guess. But it's still having a bit of a reputation as being a bit shit. And then I think over the years, everything else video game wise as a movie that's come out has been worse. And so by sheer natural selection, it's kind of risen back to the top. But then we watched it about 4 years ago for when Sun Double Deep was happening, or other podcasts, because we were talking about the soundtrack at one point. And that was maybe my first time watching in a while, and then having done it just the other night for this. And I'm just like, you know what? This is really fun. Like, it's kind of exactly what a game adaptation should be. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It gets right to it. It has all the iconography. It does, it has a little bits of flair and flash within itself as well, but it looks fucking great. It looks like a proper movie, which a lot of the ones, I mean, because in our head now, I think me and Daryl compared 1995 Mortal Kombat with the 2021 one, which we can kind of get into as you guys haven't seen it, and all the things that
cannot wait to hear what you think of that,
and all the things that we think that does wrong that you might be like, I reckon you might like it more just through the sheer nature of it being more of a modern film, I think.
But it was purposely, it was like, I don't, because that got relatively positive reviews and enough money and positivity to get a sequel.
It was the pandemic. We had nothing.
It clearly wasn't that bad that they've sequelized it quite soon. So I was like, I actually want this to solely be about Annihilation. But you can't watch Annihilation without comparing it to the film for which it is a sequel.
So I mean, the 95 original, it's like it just the tone is just right, and there's stuff that the 2021 one does in terms of bending over backwards to explain law and how things work, and it's like, just show us a guy who can do this and who can shoot things out of his hands and do this. It doesn't need a reason. We're already in the world of this film. That's reason enough. We're suspending disbelief coming in. Give us a lightning god man with a silly hat who's played by Christopher Lambert. We get it.
I will say that actually, I don't know for what reasons, but a lot this year, like we're in May currently, the last I've actually watched a lot of 80s and 90s films this year, just coincidentally. And I will say they were a lot braver about just starting the film when the film starts.
Yeah.
You're in the film, you'll fucking pick it up.
And that's what Superman,
Yes.
that's what they
Yes.
had the
Yes.
response with Superman, and it was really polarizing. I personally loved it. I was like, I don't need, especially with superhero, I don't need a big origin
get it.
story again. Just throw me straight in the world. I'll pick it up. And you're right. I think it's just it's the second screen thing, and it's just like not trusting your audience, and it's dumbing it down and spelling everything out. It bores everyone, and then you get a cycle of it being boring, and then people go back to their phones again. That's
a really great example, Daisy, because the Superman one, I mean, because comic book films can especially do it. It's like, we get it, comic books are just a bit nutty, you can just dive right in. And I think Gunn's decision to start that Superman film with all the stuff that's in it straight out the gate is great, and it's one step removed almost from the, it needs to be an origin story first. It's like, no, it doesn't. We get it.
So where do we stand on the original Mortal Kombat then? As someone who doesn't know the lore and the games and stuff, I did feel a little bit like thrown straight in, which was good. You know, they're showing all these people. I'm like, okay, so clearly this is a character. Getting to kind of figure out who these characters are, and I would say that it does that quite well, especially with Lou's character, like showing the dream sequence with his brother, and I'm like, who's that? It just gets you so much more engaged to be like, oh, what's going on? How's this all happen? What I will say though is I spent the rest of the film going, who's that? What the hell's happening? I didn't quite end up picking it up.
If you don't know the games, you're a bit left behind. But
yeah, but at the same time, I didn't feel like there was enough plot to really kind of get to grips with. So I wonder if there's a middle ground between what you've described the 2021 film as doing, which is overdoing the lore, which I imagine some fans were a bit like, I want to see more of that. This is why I love these games. But then also just kind of having fun with it and living in the film as opposed to it being a history lesson.
I think for me, I struggled in that, like, I loved that it just threw me in, and I was playing catch up, and I was like, right, so that's this archetype, this is that archetype, this is why this person wants to be here, this is why, like, okay, so they killed her partner and she's after revenge, and I don't really know why she's a mortal and she's trying to, now it's suddenly in Fantasyland. And I did feel like you could really make an entire film out of just that, just what do you do when your partner is killed, and you could go back and really trace her trauma and her lore. But then I was like, well, in the 90s, that's a spin-off novel, and if you care enough about the character, you go to W.H. Smith's and you buy the spin-off novel, and you get to enjoy the spin-off novel like a big old nerd, whereas casual fans just watch the movie and boom, 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 fatality. And I was like, I sort of miss that, because now it's everyone has to be the nerd and everyone has to know all the things.
Everybody's player one. That's where we are now. Everybody's player one. Everybody's special. Yeah. That's where we're at. Like what you honestly think in 1995 that we're going to give the token female character agency beyond? Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, the one thing I'll say about Mortal Kombat 1995 is, at least, and like so many films are guilty with this to this day, they don't pit the one female protagonist against a woman antagonist. Right? Like, they let her face off against Trevor Goddard, who's this. He's kind of a scrappy looking, looks like he's probably one of the distant Mitchell cousins from EastEnders, like geezer, with a fucking laser eye, right? They have them scrap, and I'm like, okay, this woman versus this, yeah, brilliant.
But
I'm
they
all
do
for that.
immediately damsel her in that the entire third act battle is that she's trained up, and I'm like, I thought she's one of the main characters and competing in the tournament.
90s giveth.
Why is she Princess Peached?
Yeah, with her hair teased, might I add.
Oh yeah, no, wearing like. Wearing that leather dress that just is not, like, it's not form fitting in any way. It's just not becoming. It's just not very nice. Shang Tsung just needs
as the mother of a daughter, it's not becoming.
Yeah, no, like Shang Tsung needs a better tailor, frankly. Just terrible. Yeah, the whole premise of the games is it's Enter the Dragon, but it's fantastical. It's Enter the actual dragon. Like, that's the whole thing, and that's kind of what works about it. It's they're like, every character has the "you're a wizard, Harry" moment, whereas Street Fighter, everybody's like, you know, just really good at what they do, and they're kind of, it's like, I'd say Mortal Kombat is the Stones, whereas Street Fighter is the Beatles. That was kind of the 90s for me. That was the kind of the kind of view of them.
Killer Instinct is the Monkeys.
Oh yeah,
all right, but I love them.
Fucking killers.
Yeah. You
But there's
sold it, Matt.
like from like his first film, like Shopping, which is that ram raiding movie, like Paul W. Anderson, to then have a budget with Mortal Kombat, to then his third film, but he turned down Annihilation to do Event Horizon. That's a fucking triptych of the first three films. It's like, holy shit, this guy knows what he's doing. Like we were saying this time around with the first Mortal Kombat, like he knows how to spread the money. Like production design on this, he can make it look like a real, like, oh, okay, this is a moment, this is a thing, this is a scene. Whereas, the cinematographer of the first film, who is the director of the second film, just doesn't have that. And that's the real, like, my real main takeaway. I think I'm a lot more charitable about the second film. The first time I've seen it in, God knows, 20 plus years this time around. The first film is, I genuinely dig it as a fun, naff, cheesy time capsule, joint. I
think the gap from 1995 to 97 is so crucial, because in 95 it means you want Goro, the big four-armed guy, animatronic / man in suit. It looks great, right?
Yeah.
Like his facial expressions, everything. By the time you get 97 and Annihilation, they're like, we can do CG now. It's like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
It's the Toy Storyification of the cinema world. Because 1995, they would have been making that before Toy Story came out.
Exactly what Steven said. He came in, he went, wasn't this out in the 90s? That like Pixar were making like Toy Story at this point, and this looks like this. And I was like, yeah.
But just quick for side note for any listeners, like if you're wondering, Paul W.S. Anderson, he doesn't have, as far as I'm aware, any other films on the bottom 100, but we did recently cover him because his most recent film, In the Lost Lands, was nominated for a 2026 Razzie. And then he's also done most of the Resident Evil films, and I've covered him on other people's podcasts for the Alien vs Predator film. He's an interesting guy.
Well, I did want to bring up the mention on the podcast recently, to get your guys' view on this as well, is that he is a key figure in the vulgar altruism movement. So this idea of he's an auteur in his own right, but it doesn't necessarily look how everyone wants films to look. It's not, it's an acquired taste. And I have to say, I respect the vision, I respect the art. It doesn't quite work for me. I need to do a reassess on Goro. Now I know he was a full animatronic, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, what am I looking at? I think after watching the second one and then like watching all the history and figuring it out, I might have to reassess the first one a little bit, just to say I really did not enjoy it. I found it really boring, and I really struggled with the lack of plot. But we can go into a little bit more about my comparison soon. But any thoughts on this idea of Paul W. Anderson? He's credited as Paul Anderson only in this, so he hadn't quite distinctly made his initials in there. But given that seems to be the big draw of the first one, do you agree with this vulgar altruism sort of being the selling point of his films, and particularly the Mortal Kombat film?
I mean, ultimately, he's making films, and I think he's really putting himself as an audience member first. Like with all of these, it's not like I don't think I would argue post Event Horizon, he's not thinking, from AVP onwards, he's not thinking, what do I as a filmmaker want to get out of this? He's like, I know what the budget is, I know what my producers want. Ultimately, I know what I would want as an audience member, and that's me. And I just think as an audience member, his tastes very firmly lie in the no shade on, I'm going to get fucking atted up the wazoo for this, like the shallow waters of Aliens, Terminator 2, and that very specific, fanboyism of the 80s into the 90s. Don't at me, those are fucking 5-star masterpieces, sure, but I, as somebody who is a fan of both Terminator and Alien franchises, I get somewhat turned off ick-wise by a very specific kind of fanboy, of which Paul W.S. Anderson is absolutely one of. And he's kind of the runoff on the slag heap of that, in terms of. But what I will give him is this. basically after AVP and he does his first Resident Evil film, he meets the love of his life. They get married, they have children. He's happily ever after. He's making films with his wife, Rob fucking Zombie style, until the day he expires. And good
You've
for
got to
him.
respect it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm happy
absolutely.
for him.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea, but I
Straight
want
up.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want more. I'd love to have more of him. Not his stuff, but more of him in the world making these kind of films, rather than the awful Amazon Prime film Balls Up that I watched the other day.
Oh wow!
Jesus
Wow.
fucking Christ, that was. But my point being is, those are soulless, corporate made. Don't even seem to have the bare bones of being able to put a film together, because something always feels off. I'd much rather someone come through and be like, "This is my style. I'm evolving, but I'm kind of sticking with this vision. It's nothing like anyone else. I've been inspired by films, and I love making films." You know, I'd love more people
I've got a
like
question
that,
for the pair of you then, as I've sat through nearly 8 hours of you discussing Uwe Boll in the last week.
Oh my
do
God.
you think?
God help you.
You dug deep.
Yeah.
Do you? Well, the only 4 video game adaptations you've done prior to this are all Uwe Boll joints, and you're still missing one. But
I was so upset when I realised that we missed one.
But like, do you think maybe that kind of soulless, I'm making this for like, is that Uwe Boll was maybe ahead of his time, because those
100%.
films are exactly what we're seeing now.
Yeah,
I think at one point we maybe discussed that. I don't know, or I definitely had that thought of like, I think he does not have the artistic vision to make the adaptations, but he had the business mindset to know that this was gonna be a thing, and he bought up those rights. And I don't think he was the right person to do the adaptations, but he was fucking smart enough to know that someone was gonna do them, so buy them.
Yeah.
I think Paul W. Anderson, he's someone who's living his best life in a way that seems rare in Hollywood. He's making the films he wants to make, the way he wants to make them, with his wife, with a big budget each time, and they make money. It's like, I don't think anyone can ask for any more than that. And I don't know how much of that is starting to wane or drop off a cliff since the Resident Evil franchise that he started is kind of finished. Like, you know, will Monster Hunter and In the Lost Lands keep getting him more work? Who's to say? But he's tapping into a niche that no one else really is, aside from maybe like a Len Wiseman, who's did the same with the Underworld films, and his other half, Kate Beckinsale. So
feel like he might get work in Eastern Europe. I feel like
I'm sure that's probably where they shoot a lot of this stuff. You know,
it's just go full out to China. But like, you know, as long as you're, you know, become an asset of China, it's fine. Yeah, you'll have huge budgets still. You could be able to throw in a Matt Damon every now and then, or a John Cusack does all these films.
That's what I mean. He'll follow the path that allows him to continue to make films that he wants to output. It doesn't, like you said, Daryl, it doesn't sound like he's the kind of person worried about this specific craft of something and how it lands. He just wants to make the films he wants to make, that he would like to watch, and he wants to, you know, to put out there. So it'll be interesting to see what he does next, because he did not do Mortal Kombat: Annihilation, which I would love for us to start talking about specifically. Just before we do,
into the
just before we do, just a quick recap on the film itself. And we will go into spoilers, but I'm assuming if you're however long into this podcast that the edit decides to we're 45 minutes into recording, that you don't mind spoilers, and that you're probably either a fan of Mortal Kombat or are just really, really interested to hear what we think. But Mortal Kombat Annihilation is the sequel to Mortal Kombat. It was out in 1997. It is classed as an American martial arts fantasy film, and it is indeed based on the video game franchise Mortal Kombat. More specifically, it said the plot of Mortal Kombat 3. So, Daryl, you mentioned you had that one, so I'd be interested to see what you think about that. And it follows Liu Kang and his allies as they attempt to prevent the malevolent Shao Kahn from conquering the Earth realm. As you mentioned, directed by John R. Leonetti, who I was really interested to see that he obviously was a cinematographer of the first one, but also he's been done a lot of cinematography across loads of different genres, including one that you might recognize, Claire, The Perfect Man, Hilary Duff. Ring any bells?
No, that I love
Yes,
that film.
I love that film as well. That was a random one, Honey. But he's also done cinematography for The Mask, the Insidious films, and he was the director of Annabelle. So he's got a really interesting career there. Just quickly rounding off some of the cast, film stars Robin Shoes, Lee Kang, who reprised his role. He's also done a lot of martial arts films, including Street Fighter one.
And he worked as the fight choreographer in both films as well.
He did. He was a hardworking man. Talisa Soto's Katana, who also reprised her role. She was a Bond girl in License to Kill. Now, James Remar is a name that I've heard a lot, but he's not a face that I recognise. And I've looked at
Mirror Universe Clancy Brown. Have you seen The Warriors? Really cool,
I
late
haven't.
70s. So he's in that. The Berberfest boy. It's not on your list, but much derided third Blade film, Blade Trinity. He's in that.
Right. So he pops up in a lot of places.
I know him from the Alfred-esque character in the DC Universe TV show Black Lightning. Where he is the granddad figure to the superhero Black Lightning. Black Lightning is a young black man who inherits powers after his father dies, and he plays the wisdomful, older, butler-esque white man who teaches him how to come into his powers. And that's the first thing I ever saw him in. And now anytime I see him in anything else, I'm like, you're the old dude from Black Lightning. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a lot of people know him from being Dexter's dad in the TV show Dexter, which is a similar role, or as he was the original Hicks in Aliens before being fired and replaced by Michael Biehn. So
so I've not seen
a bit of a Marty McFly situation.
Yeah, I've not seen any of these, and I've seen loads of stuff that he's been in, but he's just not a face that my brain has decided to remember. But apparently, I'm just got his filmography up here. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Django, X-Men First Class, Oppenheimer, even a voice in Ratatouille. How could I not know this? Yeah. But he will certainly be one that I remember now because his name's been battered around a lot recently. But he replaced Christopher Lambert as Raiden. We have Sandra Hess as Sonya Blade, Lynn Red Williams as Jax, who I believe was most known for being on American Gladiators at the time, doesn't have a huge filmography, and Brian Thompson, known for roles in Cobra, a few Star Trek, and the alien bounty hunter from the X-Files is what I see the internet knows him as.
He's in a lot of White Guy Cry Summer films.
Perfect.
He's a lot of like direct-to-video action joints of the Nico Mastorakis films of the 80s as well. He's like, okay, we can't get Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme won't touch us, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy, and like genuinely, he's
also the master in the first season of Buffy.
No. I was like, do you not remember that?
Yeah. He understands the assignment. He really does.
And he's got a very striking face. I was very engaged when he was on screen, and I'm very interested to see if I'd be happy to see him pop up in some other stuff.
I'm just gonna correct myself here. He's not the master in Buffy, but he is in Buffy. He's in he's playing a guy called Luke in one episode.
I swear.
I thought he was. I mean, it's that kind of,
you hear the aggressive type.
Yeah. Claire's definitely not under research for this.
He's got a face for movies.
He was in the first episode. He's in the pilot episode. He's a big bad vampire in the first episode, and then Buffy kills him. They set him up as being the big scary vampire in the season.
Yes, that's where my brain went. I thought he's the OG master in the pilot.
I didn't come first in a Buffy quiz recently with the adjacent film quiz to you guys do, and then have an argument with the owners of the Buffy quiz about various things for you to disrespect Buffy.
Well, before we go into all things about this film, I'd love to make a point that this is actually number 77 on the bottom 100. So it's not quite, it's not
Hey.
high. It's, you know, 3/4 of the way down. It has got a 3.6 out of 10 median score. And did you know that IMDb are now putting a number of votes after that as well? Claire, have you seen that?
No.
So I've seen on the list it has 62,000 votes. So it's it'll be interesting to start comparing and contrasting how popular some of these are compared to the others.
I want to say this, like, having just gone through a load of our bowl looks with you guys and listened to those, and going through the list myself as it stands as of today, early May, and having done 23 or 22 of these films just for fucking shits and giggles. I've got to say, there's a whole bunch of films on there that are, how do I put this?
They're bad, but you need to see more bad movies.
Well, yeah, but then also some of them are on there because somebody's, many thousands of people are doing a racism, or many thousands of people are doing a misogyny. Like, the new Black Christmas is shit.
So
it's directed by a woman and written by a woman, and that's why it's there.
I alluded to that at the end of my recent appearance on your podcast. There's certain films that are on here because they are bad, and there are certain films that are on here because they're aimed at women or made by women, or God forbid, both.
Because the people voting for them are bad.
But the best and worst thing about this list is also that is it something like you have to have 10,000 reviews, or you have to have a large amount of reviews.
Yeah, you definitely have to have that
at
least.
Because whilst I have seen so many worse films than this through my work as a film critic, I don't want to be watching some dude's second film where he had $2,000 to make a horror film about a beach. I want to watch the movie that Warner Brothers paid £75,000 million to make and be like, dude, what the fuck were you doing? How did you get this so wrong?
Get that.
It needs to be a fair playing field, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is, and with this list, is expectation versus actuality. And it's people that expect a Mortal Kombat sequel or a Scary Movie sequel or whatever it might be to be a thing, and it's not quite that. It's not somebody's debut feature that is absolute fucking dog shit that's getting on there. It's thousands of people that are all clamoring to go and see, I don't know, a sequel to some big thing, or a Far Cry video game adaptation, and going, oof.
And it's also unfortunate, though, for this poor film, because this is all of those things in one, in that I do believe it was John R. Leonetti's debut feature.
Director of Annabelle, yeah.
But this was his debut feature.
Yeah.
But he worked, so many people came back from the original movie, and it was a direct sequel, that there was just too high an expectation. And I don't know, Daisy, we've lost peace. You're trying to keep us together. We've completely run away from
No, that's all right. Let loose. Let loose.
This, while I was watching it, I was like, what the fuck happened here? But then in my research, when I was listening to a number of other podcasts talking about it, who I will, when I do the edit, and properly credit all of them, not least at Verbal Diorama. Lovely podcast, lots of research. But every single person that returned to this film from the first film was promoted. And we love an internal promotion. We love hiring from within. I am so pro that in every element of my life. But when all the adults leave the room, maybe the children shouldn't be in charge. And I feel like if it was just Mr. Leonetti who was promoted and everyone else has stayed the same, maybe everything wouldn't have gone so wrong. But when he was promoted, someone else was promoted, someone else was promoted, someone else was promoted, and you've got all of the level 1s doing level 3 jobs, there wasn't an adult in the room.
Interesting. I didn't know that. Well, I think it makes sense, though, right?
Is that how you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, like from a lot of that, and then also hearing that New Line did a test screening. And then basically getting like, yeah, great. When you finish the film, it's going to be great. And they just went, I already said it was great. Let's just put this out. So, yeah.
See,
final act.
This is the biggest rumour I got from M's podcast. So Em at Verbal Diorama, who again, she did way more research than I've done because she's amazing, so I didn't need to research, I just needed to listen to her episode.
She's not shallow and under researched.
She is not shallow and under researched. And she did some book learning and a few other things. But basically, the rumour, and it is still to this day unsubstantiated, but John Robert Leonetti has said that the version that exists of Mortal Kombat Annihilation was an assembly cut. It was not finished.
Ouch.
And that, like you just said, Daryl, New Line Cinema test screened it, and they were so happy with whatever thumbs up they got in that test screening that they were tired of the budget they were using, because their whole purpose was they were doing all of this amazing CGI stuff that had never been done before, that was completely revolutionary, which again, according to M and the books that she read, has actually really influenced a lot of modern cinema. But New Line Cinema were like, you've spent too much money, like, we're done here. They were like, we got a positive enough score.
Pinch off, wipe, flush, done.
And they just released that version. And he was like, this is not the version that myself, my crew, to the point that when I watched it, there's a point in the opening fight scene where there's some sort of fight that is clearly, for anyone that's ever used Photoshop or any modern equivalent of photo editing software, the magic wand tool, there is genuinely a bit where they've clearly magic wanded the green screen away from the fighters, and there's a whole chunk of someone's arm missing. Like, literally, within the fight, there is a circle of arm missing where the magic wand has been too strong.
This is like the X-Men Origins Wolverine work print.
Yeah. Where they pulled out a bit of their arm. And when I was watching it, was like, how could anyone have been happy to release this? And then when I listened to Em's podcast and did a bit of research, I was like, I don't know how true the theory is or not, but I will buy into the conspiracy theory that this is an assembly cut, because I don't know any person that would be happy to release where the opening fight scene has glaring, that simple errors.
Yeah, I'm genuinely looking forward to. So Arrow are releasing 1 and 2 in 4K in July, I think, and I will be all over them because apparently they've got like Leonetti doing a commentary and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, wow.
No.
The truth comes
God.
out.
Is that Arrow?
Yeah, Arrow. Yeah.
Daisy, we're getting a contact.
Okay.
It kind of goes to my whole thing of Arrow only, like, since they got bought a few years ago, they only release, like, most of them releases now are just movies. Like, it used to be really interesting, niche, crazy cinema, and now it's just like Armageddon. Like, great, thanks, Arrow. Fucking golf clap. But like, Mortal Kombat's one of those, but like, it's one I'll actually buy into, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I very much I buy into the theory that this is not the finished product, because I do not understand how anyone could be happy with the final version.
And is it just the... Sorry, Matt, you go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was going to say, is it just the effects that you feel that way about, or what?
Personally,
Everything?
for me, the effects glaringly. Like, within the first 5 minutes, the effects offended me. Having just come off of the first film, I was like, how did we fall so far?
The first ones were bad as well. What are you talking about?
But not to the same. I gave the first film 3 stars. After watching this, I was like, I need to give that 4.5. Because
no, you don't.
I didn't. But watching them almost back to back, I was like, holy shit, how far we have fallen from.
You're like, I can't go lower without making MK1 higher to make.
Yeah, I could go lower.
But I also, there's no the incoherency of the plot of this.
I feel like I've watched these films the wrong way around, because everything you're saying about the second one, I felt about the first one.
Daisy, where are you? But again, I'll credit all these podcasts. I listened to 3 different podcasts about this film, and I don't know which one of the 3, so I'll credit all of them in our credits. One of them pointed out that they tell the lead character that he has to go through 3 trials to learn about himself, and he only goes through 2 of them.
Yeah.
He never goes through the 3rd.
No.
as watching it, I was just like, I don't understand any of this. But then when I listened to that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. He didn't. Like,
the Indian in the cupboard lies.
Yeah.
Night Wolf.
But there's no coherence to anything about this film.
Yeah, it kind of comes in like on fast forward already, and it's like, yeah, the first one is just kind of fighting is the plot, but this kind of has like a end of the world vague, like they meet up with Raiden, and he's just like, yep, we got 8 days till Armageddon or whatever it is, and lays out all this exposition, and it's one of those structures of plot where like they don't actually do anything. Like they don't achieve or gain anything. They just end up at the final battle when they get there. But
I had no idea if the final battle was the same day or 8 days later.
Exactly, yeah.
No idea. I was like, how many days have we been?
And it's like
this?
I'll give the film that it does throw a lot of pretty cool fight scenes straight out of the gate. And so when we were watching it the other day, we paused it during the sector, the robot fight, the yellow robot fight, which was pretty cool. And as Daryl paused it, I was thinking, this could be 10 minutes in, or this could be in the final act, and I have no idea because this pacing is shot. I think it was like 28 minutes.
Pacing is relentless. Yeah.
And Daisy, you're not wrong. That all of that is true about the first film. But there's something about the first film that has, I don't want to say whimsy, because whimsy isn't the right word.
I know what you mean.
Pacing, production design, there's writing.
It's all cinema. It's fast, it's confusing, it's throwing everything at the wall, and it's just like, fucking keep up and move with it. But I think the point is that we as an audience might not keep up, but clearly whoever was behind the scenes had a business purpose. Whereas with this second film, they're just throwing shit at the wall, and at the end of the day, they're like...
There's something like 30 characters from the games in the second film.
So again, one of the
lack of
podcasts I
discipline
listened to said that character versus runtime is a new character is introduced every 1.35 minutes.
Good grief.
What?
Well, this is the thing. So this comes out, we were saying, like, characters who are introduced in Mortal Kombat 2, the that are in this film that aren't in the first, are people like Baraka, who's in a
Barack Obama. Sorry, I'm going to do it at least once.
Terrible mask. You got Jade, you got Jax, you've got...
Jax is in Mortal Kombat. He's in the intro thing, and then they...
You got Mylena, you got Shao Kahn, obviously, and then characters introduced in Mortal Kombat 3 include Ermac and Sector, the robot, Shiva, Rain, Nightwolf, Motaro, Sindel, like most of the baddies actually, Motaro, the big centaur man. Funnily enough, the one they don't bring in is Stryker, who in the games is just a guy with a gun.
Just a New York cop with a gun, which in a game where you're like fighting people and he's got a gun seems a little bit
just throws grenades at you,
Yeah.
But they could have had him as like the main entry.
I'm so
character.
glad we don't have an entry level character of like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Like which they do in the latest.
Actually, would have been a really good person for Sonya. I feel like they could have.
I mean, like Johnny Cage, because we haven't talked about how this opens where they like this film starts where the last one ends. So like, it's not even like a day's pass. It's at the same moment.
But everyone's recast.
But yeah, everybody except Talisa Soto and Robin Shou have been recast.
Liu Kang and Katana.
Yeah. Yikes!
And then they just murk him. They just fridge Paul Cage.
So they kill Johnny Cage in the opening 5 minutes, and I actually thought that was a response to the recasting. I was like, oh, did they kill him off because they couldn't get the actor back?
It felt that way.
Turns out he was killed off, and that's the reason the actor didn't come back. He was like, why would I come back to be killed in the opening 5 minutes?
That's fair.
Yeah.
And the wildest thing about that is that the guy they recast Lyndon Ashby with looks so much like him. Like, it's a really good recasting.
I didn't realise it was a recast.
Yeah, we're just going to keep killing him.
Did they say why?
Originally, originally they wanted... so Jean-Claude Van Damme had a bit of a Sophie's Choice moment where he had to pick between Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, and he chose Street Fighter.
Whereas, ironically, Johnny Cage is sort of based on Jean-Claude Van Damme anyway, with the split and everything.
Sonya Blade originally was, who did we say the other day?
Oh, Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz, who had a
mask. And she hurt herself or something and had to pull out.
Yeah.
She had herself in training, so couldn't be in it. Stephen James, who might go Karate Summer, absolute fucking legend, alumni, incredible actor who's in loads of Cannon films. So, like, Jesus Christ. The most annoying thing is he's always the most charismatic person, but he's always playing second fiddle to some fucking bland beige vanilla chicken white bread motherfucker.
American Ninja 1 and 2.
And he was cast as
Chris
Jax,
Pratt?
but then unfortunately had the problem of dying before the film was due to start. Yeah, terrible. But you had all these like what if moments, there's sliding doors of that first Mortal Kombat, and then you got like a Lyndon Ashby as a replacement for Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then unceremoniously killing that character off in the opening moments. You're like, no.
Yeah. What was the reason behind
I
that?
imagine it was just they had too many characters, and also they probably could almost be like, they need a reason to go. They need to
get rid of the wisecracking guy. Get rid of the like. Hey, if you'd started the Avengers 2012 by killing off Iron Man, let's get rid of the heart of this franchise, the wisecracking, goofy heart of this thing. Murk the motherfucker. That's essentially what they did.
Which is weird that they've almost gone the reverse for the new films. They're keeping Johnny Cage absent for number 1, but then going, oh shit, we need him for 2. Let's make him the lead.
Yeah. And it's Keith Urban.
I was going to say, is that who
Carl
Urban?
Keith Urban. He's the country.
Oh yeah, imagine if Keith.
I would watch that movie. Holy shit. Yeah.
Carl Urban.
I'll tell you what, like a lot of the characters that they do show up in here, I kind of dig their appearances. Like the robot, Sector and Smoke are cool. Jax in this, he's not a great actor. He's an American Gladiator. But I tell you what, they do right by his character more so than in the 2021 version, which you'll see. It's a dumb thing.
That's very interesting because watching only this one so far, Jax, who wasn't in the first one, turned up in Annihilation. Very 1995 writing of a black character.
We were talking about this. Yeah.
Oh wait, I can't remember what happened.
Jax is the one with the robo arms.
Oh yeah, but like what?
It's just,
and he'll just say stuff like, "That's
and I'm gonna throw a really weird racial quip at you."
Have you ever seen Not Another Teen Movie?
I love that film.
Yeah.
And I love it too. It's a great parody of those films.
Is it actually a good parody film?
But it really is
a good parody.
It is.
The one black character in that talks about being the token black actor in one of these films, and he has a whole thing about going, and then I have to say, damn, and that shit is whack, and it's just right. Fuck. In this film, that's exactly what this poor actor has to suffer through. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's really
There's this particular scene with him and Sonia, actually, that I was watching a few videos they called out about. Actually, do you know what? It was Cinema Sins. The reason I watched them both was to get a reminder of the two separate films so that I could be really clear about what I did and didn't like about both of them. But the scene it was on, I was like, oh yeah, this was a funny scene. Jax is walking behind Sonia and he's like, so what is going on? She's like, I don't have time to explain. And he's like, we do, because we're kind of just like walking through the desert and like, you've got to give me something because I'm like kind of following you around. She's just like, you wouldn't even get it. You wouldn't even get it if I told you. And he's like, well, try me. And she's just like, oh, Johnny Cage died. And he's like, who the fuck is Johnny Cage? And then that's just the end of the conversation. Yeah.
This is my whole thing with the movie, in that the lead character is in love with the other, like, mystical lady whose mum is the key to everything.
Who he met 4 days ago.
So that was my question. How many days ago did they meet? Because in my mind, it's one day.
Yeah.
The passing of time in these movies is cool. And so Sonia spends the entire movie being upset about Johnny, and I'm like, I don't think you held hands. I don't think you kissed. And I think you knew each other for maybe 36 hours. And yes, I'm pretty sure if someone died in front of me, I'd be pretty fucked up about it too. But you were acting like you were fucking soulmates, and I'm pretty sure you spent the last 36 hours being like, dude, I don't know you. And now all of a sudden you're acting like he's your husband.
The first part of it, they hated each other. She was looking down her nose at him while he was getting out the boat of all of his luggage, you know.
This is maybe the most
funny comedic scene, in fairness. Like, that's actually Lyndon Ashby, like, falling, like, face first into water, and I'm like, good for you in Thailand.
I mean, this is maybe where the writing really falls down. Like, we said a bit about it in the first one, but this is one where it has the racial stereotypes of Jax, but it also has Sonya Blade, who's one of our best female characters, moping about a guy she knew for a few days.
Oh no, having a mud wrestle.
I was
having
about
a
to
female
say,
character.
just
the mud
before-
wrestle scene.
And we leave Taisa Soto in a fucking bird cage.
Yeah, so Katana's just damsel in distress for the whole thing. So like that's shockingly bad, the treatment of all. I mean, you've got Sindel
Well, so
as the
I thought
crazy
Sonya
shrieking
was
mum.
awful in the first film. I was like, why is the only female character being immediately Princess Peached? And then the second film happened, and I was like, holy
Princess
shit,
Peaching
they
everyone.
made it worse.
Oh, and in fairness, we've got Taisa Soto as Katana in the first film, and every time you know she's about to appear on screen, there's like a pan flute thing going on, and I'm
Yeah.
like, has she hired him? Is that just somebody just for when she enters a scene? It's like, like what is going on? It's
And
really
I was
fucking
just
weird.
trying to Google it because again, one of the podcasts I listened to did have the exact count out, and I can't remember. I didn't write it down, and I've just tried to Google it and I can't find it. But the backflips, there's
Yes.
some.
Oh,
there's
they
something,
just go. Everyone needs to
54.
front flip into a
50
scene.
Is it 54? Is that
54.
the first film or Annihilation?
Oh,
Is
it's
it
Annihilation,
that has
right?
Yeah,
That's
Annihilation's
Annihilation.
all backflips.
Everyone's
It's a
flipping those.
combination of backflips, front flips, and side flips. There are 54 of them present in this film.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're all
Well,
like in the air against a green screen.
It's Power Rangers like, but
Oh god, yeah.
but when you've got like your
I wrote that down.
we got a big scary Shao Kahn being all intimidating at the start, and then he just goes whoop and does a flip into the. It's like, dude, you've
And
just
it's
lost all
also-
menace.
Yeah, and it's also like just the way it's shot. It's like Power Rangers looks like it was shot in a car park. It's
This
just
was
like
shot
very.
in a
Oh, it's
car
that
park.
angle
Very
of the
flat.
camera.
Straight up.
It's the angle of the camera being on the floor looking up as someone flips
Yeah,
over it.
yeah,
That's the Power
and-
Rangers of it all.
But it's just even just like being able to see the intricacies of the cheaply made costume in like
Yeah.
bright like light of day, everything being very flat, the location just being like a dirt road in behind like whatever kind of
Oh, it's a
random
quarry in
supermarket
Wales, I
in
think.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Quarry in Wales.
yeah.
That's it, yeah.
yeah, it definitely gave me those vibes in some kind of a charming way. I have to say, it wasn't like me being like, oh, this is like Power Rangers. I was like, oh, this is kind of like Power Rangers.
Yeah, but that's the reason that the budget was so much more bloated than the original is because of the insane amount of money they put into all of these revolutionary effects.
Who was running New Line at the time? Because I think a lot of that then lined their pockets. This is like when who was the baked bean looking motherfucker who took over from Bob Iger from Disney for like 4 years and then
He was
fucked up
another
so
Bob.
badly?
Chapek.
Bob Capek. Yeah. But he literally looks like a baked bean in a fucking suit. But when he took over and he was smartly moving money from the parks, which made all the money, to the film division, and when the losses were happening from things like, Marvel's Secret Invasion, apparently costing $220 million for that show, it was just like, oh yeah, it all came from this show. It's like, bitch, please. Like, you've been moving money around so much, we don't know how anything's earning. We don't know if it's bum or breakfast.
And Bob Iger snatched that CEO position right back, and he
I
sent him to the naughty
honestly-
step.
I'm really interested to see how the new guy, like how this ends up. But this does feel a
He's
bit like
not
that.
Bob.
It's just
He's not
he's
Bob.
not a Bob. We'll see. But like the jury's out on this non-Bob character. Shit. But like with Leonetti, like well, I don't know how much.
I feel you. I do understand. I just think that I watched the first one on the wrong day for what I needed.
So Daisy,
get
I'm
at
a
the
bit confused.
time.
Did you prefer the second film to the first?
Right. The floor is yours. Monologue for
But I
5
can't-
I'm
minutes.
sorry. I thought you mean floor FLAW for a second. I thought that's really bitchy. Holy shit. God damn.
I would take
I'm like,
it. I would take it.
Try and convince any
Oh
of
no,
us.
I'm not. What I'm saying to you is, I
Here's my
just watched
TED
them on the wrong day. I just wasn't in the mood to watch the first one. I'm so influenced by like.
But I thought the first one was shit, and then
Yeah.
I watched the second one and was
Well,
like,
that's
oh,
what
I
I'm saying.
didn't know
I was more
how
prepared.
low the
Okay.
floor could go.
I think what it was is that when I watch a film in preparation for another film, like this is the podcast film, right? So I'm sitting there with my notebook, I'm attentive. The one before was just so I knew what the next one was
Homework.
going to happen.
You treat it like homework.
I was just like, right, I'm actually paying attention to this. When I was like watching the one before, I wasn't really in the mood, but I wanted to just get it done. And I wasn't really like, I was like, I don't need to make sure that I've like got all of my thoughts in order, because I was watching it as an audience member, not as a podcast person. But also I just didn't want to watch it on that day, and I found it boring. I was just like, we're going from fight to fight, and it's just a bit. But you're right, it's because I hadn't seen the second one. I think I managed my expectation on the second one. I knew what I was getting myself in for with that one, and I don't know, I felt like there was more there to engage me, but it could have easily just been a different
the truism of if you watch enough films that are not great, you are somewhat more tempered to what that is going to be. And this is why something that's amazing idea is W Rated does. You kind of delve into these films, and frankly for some of them you're just like, this is just a slightly bad movie. You just expected it to be, I don't know, the first fucking Jaws.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So this is the odd thing for me, in that when I watched the first film, I will say, Daisy, I probably went through all of the same thoughts. I didn't want to watch it. It annoyed me. It was too loud. I was pissed off.
No, it wasn't. Dun 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 dun.
Yes, they knew what they had.
Seriously, that was the best bit. Whenever it came on, I was like, dun, 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 and then the rest of it, I was like, oh.
It's like frame 2 of the New Line logo. They kick that shit in. They knew what they had. They didn't even wait for the title card. They were like, hit it during the logo.
Straight up, yeah.
I was mildly annoyed by the first one, and I was like, that was pretty shit. But I was like, again, my review was, if I was a 12-year-old boy, maybe I would have liked that. But my thought was, wonder why that one isn't on the list. But then I watched Annihilation, but then I was like, oh my god, they step down.
Okay, yeah.
Can I ask you girls a question? Have you seen three films? Sorry. Super Mario Brothers from 1993.
No.
All right. Have you seen Double Dragon from 1994? And have you seen Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Yes, I know you've seen that one.
Daisy, now I think we might be under research in the shallow.
No, I just want to point out that we started the 1-2 punch, and everybody likes to think of this film as being like the second. It's not. We have the wonderful Robert Patrick as the villain in a much forgotten video game adaptation from 1994, which you only watched recently.
I did, yeah. Double Dragon, yeah. It was.
Oh shit! Yes, it was with me. Yes. So yeah,
because we realised the original baddies of the OG video game movies are Dennis Hopper in Mario. It's Robert Patrick in Double Dragon. It's Raul Julia in Street Fighter, and it's Kari Hiroyuki Tanawa in Mortal Kombat. And I'm putting
who I did like in Mortal Kombat, by the way. Well, he was a much better villain.
You'll need a Ouija board because 3 of those are dead.
Sadly, yes.
But yeah, I think to kind of like try and put a bow on all of this, the issue is, while the first film isn't that great, as Daryl said, you were in a whole shitpool of bad adaptations. And the 1995 version, whilst nowhere near a great film, was an adequate film. It was one of the few video game adaptations that wasn't fucking shit.
And I mean, it's reminiscent of the game it's adapting, which you couldn't even really say about Street Fighter.
Or Super Mario Bros.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was the bar in the 90s, was fine. So then you've got the one film that passed the very small bar. Then you have everyone come back in a rushed sequel. The biggest people, the biggest stars, the biggest director, the biggest people behind the screen don't want to come back. So everyone that comes back is promoted whether they want to be or not. They're trying to do bigger, better. They've got more budget, so they're overdoing it. We're in a post-Toy Story world where they're like, CGI is a thing. So they're going for, rather than doing the puppetry of their old, they're like, we've got to push the boundaries. They push the boundaries. They don't have... We're not there yet. Then, supposedly, whether we believe it or not, it's the assembly cut. We are getting less experienced people with less time, with less budget, more budget, but more spread out, potentially with a film that wasn't finished. And it's a fucking mess.
And I preferred it.
Hey!
You haven't even let me finish what my reasoning anyway.
Go!
I'm not trying to convince anyone. All I'm saying is, for me, it's about expectation. Like, you hit the nail on the head. I've gone into the first film knowing that that's not on the bottom 100 and looking at it going, what do you mean? This is not on the bottom 100. So then I go into the next one thinking, Jesus Christ, how much worse could this be? So you see, my expectations are really low. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's kind of on par, in my opinion, because the reasons I disliked both of them were but apparent in both.
Mm-hmm.
So it was too subtle a difference for me to be like, oh, I prefer Annihilation. It was just, I had a better day, I was more engaged for whatever reason, and the slight tip of the scales of, oh, this is supposed to be worse, but it's the same, and therefore my experience was a bit better. It all comes down to that. So I am not gonna do anything to convince anyone of it. It's just, these aren't for me. And my thing is, I asked Stephen about this. I was like, have you played these? Like, what's the deal here? What am I supposed to be like taking away from this? He was like, well, with Mortal Kombat, it was all very gory and like really like, blood and guts and gore and everything. I was like, I'm not getting that, and I would have loved to have seen more of that. So if they'd have done like an R-rated version and they'd really like ramped that up, so it was like those games, I think I would have had a much better time. Otherwise, I'm not a massive action fan. I liked the bits, where they're doing the like cool choreography stuff. I do think the choreography is better in the second one. It might just be that the people were slightly better. Sonya does a kick where she literally goes like that, where it looks like her leg is not connected to her body.
Cynthia Rothrock special, yeah.
But again, it could just be a bad day watching the first one, a non-bad day watching the second one. But I also don't go back and reevaluate my star rating, because we know how influenced by other people I am, Claire. So after everyone was like on the internet was like, this one's such a step down, I was just like, okay, I'm sure that it is, but that wasn't my experience, and I have to stick with that now.
Yeah, we'll say it's odd with the gore element, because these games were famed at the time for being ridiculously gory, and parents wanted to ban them and all this.
Even
because
to this day, some of the more modern ones are still banned. Like some of the ones that came out like 2015, 2018 are still banned in some countries.
Well, the newer games lent into the legacy of extreme violence, and the fatalities in them are like ridiculously over the top. And so it is kind of strange to think that these films don't really get too bloody. The first one has a couple of bits, but Annihilation has like nothing.
No, man. Like, if you're aiming at 12-year-old boys, and all you really can get is a PG-13.
But then even beyond that, there's like weird editing. Like is it Sindel? There's somebody who gets attacked, and then they're defeated off screen.
In the first film, to get around that rating, to get the PG-13, they were only allowed to kill the non-human characters.
Yeah, I'm sure. Which is weird, because back then you could just go...
In a post Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings landscape, you can call a lot of this now fantasy violence. If somebody... Okay, this is the Germans rating board with the game, where the blood was green for every character, and you get away with it. And there was a special cheat code to put it in so the blood was red. It's like, so now we kind of get away with it with cinema, where you go, oh yeah, cool, well, we killed like a vampire-y wingy lady, and
they're not
cool.
human.
They're not human, it's fine, which is kind of racist, frankly.
As the owner of a cat called Dracula, thank you for understanding these people.
Seriously. But yeah, like that's kind of, that was, I know the cut of the first Mortal Kombat in the US is a bit stronger than the UK and European version. Slightly. But yeah, I think by the time we reached the second one, that producers and they're just thinking, why just audience possible? And like, look at it these days, PG-13 is what they go for, but for something like the Mortal Kombat games, which have always,
the selling point is the violence.
In the 21st century, there have been 18 rated games in this country, and it's just like, well, why would we try and aim for anything below a 15? Like, crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And at that, I totally get like trying to make it, broader appeal so they can sell more tickets. But wouldn't the appeal kind of come from the game, like as with the game itself? You've got 12-year-olds being like, "Oh my god, this is so violent and bloody! I come around my house. I've got a copy. My parents won't let me play all of this." The same for the film, because you've got such a big straight-to-home market.
It's the
You've got to
Predator
remember
effect.
that in the 90s, the at-home market was only just starting to boom.
Yeah. So it's the Predator effect for me. Like, you know, I saw Predator when I was way too fucking young because my neighbour's 4 years older
But
than me,
you weren't
and let me see
considered
it.
a real market. The VHS
No, absolutely,
market wasn't
you're right.
considered
And
money.
you're right, and that goes right the way through to the 90s as well. They're not thinking, well, if we make this 18 rated, younger people, they're already thinking that with the games. But so now they're just going, right, well, you know, and I guess in the arcades, it doesn't matter about ratings, because as long as you're pumping in quarters, they don't give a fuck if Timmy is this tall to ride this fucking thing. And that's it. Whereas by the time it's in the homes, you've got the equivalent of the MPAA in America fucking things up for everybody, and whatever the equivalent was over here. And so yeah, it does. Suddenly, it's a watered down version. And a lot of these are going. A lot of these adaptations are somewhat bastardized in order to kind of make it the most appropriate for the audience,
Makes
biggest audience
sense.
possible.
But then you've got not
And
only
it's a
the
shame.
violence being, cut off and not shown. You've got, through inept editing itself, entire things being missed. So like when they take down Sindel, the screamy lady, that happens off screen. It cuts to someone else and cuts back, and she's just defeated. And you're like, hang on, are we missing a scene?
Can we just I want to take a beat for that actress who, again, clearly understood the assignment. And like one of the only gifs I could find on Blue Sky was this woman and her line delivery and the pause. You shall die. And it's just like, and it is really fucking hammy. It is slap your thighs panto behavior. And I'm like, yeah, she fucking got it, man. I don't know what she read the script and went, yeah, no, that
in her
I
purple
understand.
leotard.
I will
be
Rita Repulsa right now. Thank you very much. Yeah.
That reminds me, we haven't spoken about the big CGI fight at the end of the, which I have to say, if you were ever in doubt of something being unfinished, I think that is gonna.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. We're in the first one, we see Liu Kang just about able to do a little fireball at the end. He just punches him and it lights up a little bit. And then this one, he's like, dragon.
I'm a dragon.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm very baffled about how suddenly he's found the power within as a mortal to become a dragon.
You think they'd bake it into the story somewhere?
Yeah, the Nightwolf stuff. Well, it didn't get to the third.
I was going to say the Nightwolf.
He didn't do
he
the
didn't
third
get to
challenge.
the third trial.
The third
He
trial.
never did his third trial.
He wasn't like, you're a furry, Harry. Like, there wasn't that portion of the film. We didn't quite get there.
But listening to one of the podcasts I listened to, they were talking about how in the game, at some point in one of the versions of the game, they added in this animality thing where they could all become animals. Some of them great, some of them embarrassing. But it's like, okay, so if you're a fan of the game, it makes sense. But as a non-gamer, so confused.
Yeah. Well, at that point, I was just like, sure, why not? I did make a comment on the animation style, as it gave me a bit like Harryhausen vibes of the stop motion kind of very, very early Godzilla King Kong stuff in the way that it all moved. I was like, it's kind of cool, but I know that that's not what you were going for.
and I've brought it up already once, but considering what it is comparatively and the era as well, how Spawn isn't on that top 100 is actually some sort of Dickensian miracle. Frankly,
I've only seen it in that.
I would argue that is worse than this. I would certainly say it is worse than Steel from 1997. Sorry,
there was two people talking, so I couldn't hear either.
Daisy, do you still have the stats up of Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
I've got some.
Yeah. So on IMDb currently for Spawn, it has a 5.2 out of 10.
What? Oh, that's way above this.
Mortal Kombat had a 3 point something.
Oh, do you mean Annihilation? Annihilation had 3.6.
Don't understand.
3.6.
Yeah.
5.2 versus 3, and then this has a popularity of 4,100.
Yeah,
that again much lower. This is 62,000.
I don't understand. Like that Spawn as a film again. It's the Garden State thing. But like lower down the spectrum, where it's a shit film with a great soundtrack. Whereas
I was going to say, how on earth is this?
Great soundtrack.
So we just recorded that kind
flashback.
of thing.
Doesn't matter. It's a callback to the thing we did earlier. But like Yeah, that is, and you know what? And again, seeing Steel on the list, the same 1987, the same year as Batman and Robin, another DC property, and all I can think is people look at that and go, "It's a black man in the lead."
No. Do you know why this? Do you know why Spawn isn't on the list? Because John Leguizamo is in it, and no one can ever say that John Leguizamo doesn't bring up the quality of a movie.
He's
Super Brothers.
which also isn't on the list.
Is it not?
No.
John Leguizamo is
Maybe he is
Teflon.
the key.
He's the key.
He's the key.
If there's anything we've learnt today, is if you had him in Mortal Kombat, then maybe things would have been
the interesting thing
different.
about Robin Shou, who is the lead in both of these films, and I was saying this to Matt on Friday, we were watching it, like in 1995, to have your big budget video game movie and the final fight is between two Southeast Asian men, or men of Southeast Asian descent at least, right? When else do you get that?
Yeah.
Haruhiro Tagawa and Robin Shou fighting.
But then,
just like,
but then they were like, but we can't have that, so you're both going to have to be bad CGI dragons.
well, no, but that's the thing with the second one, where it says like Robin Shou returns, going, "Yeah, I'll come back for this." He cut his teeth like a stuntman in Hong Kong films in the 80s through to the early 90s. He would rock up again in video game adaptation in DOA Dead or Alive with Holly Valance in the aughts.
I think I've seen
What?
that.
You've seen it? Holy shit!
I know of it. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know if I've seen it, but
That's
I'm
a
aware.
video game franchise, a fighting game that is known for having, excuse me, ladies, jiggle physics for
Holly
the
Valance
female
is very big in
fighters.
my household.
That is so random. What the hell is she doing in this?
And yeah, Robin Shou rocks up in that. So it's like, it's not like he this is the last film he ever made. But yeah, I dig him as a lead.
Yeah, he's
I could
cool.
have seen
Yeah,
him
I
in
do.
more things. I like
Yeah.
his physicality, and in that 1995 film, as Jeanette was saying, my God, the razor cut feathered hairdo he had.
I
was
know.
like,
I needed to bring this up. The second, so the
good.
first bullet point I had from watching Annihilation was music bangs, and then the second one was loose feathered hair. So
Yeah. His
you know.
feathered hair isn't as good in the second one as the first film. I don't know what they did to that man. Like, it was magic.
You've
Yes.
set me up for this. Can we all talk about the point in which the lightning god gets a haircut?
Oh my God,
it's
is that-
on
Oh my
screen,
God.
and it's like, don't you love my haircut? And it's like, I didn't.
Now I'm a surfer dude who
Noticed.
doesn't care about anything.
Because did you think, Daryl,
It's
that this was a skin, like a Raiden design
Yeah,
from
it
a later
is.
game?
It is from.
And that's why they've
from
shoehorned it
the
in.
game. That's what
I
they
Right.
said.
got the point of it.
Yeah.
Because
Straight
I was
up.
just like, I don't know why.
So
this
he
is
has a
whole
worse
scene.
wig than Christopher Lambert did in the first film,
Which is already pretty bad.
which was already
which was
not
bad.
great.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. So they give him a worse wig. He's not doing the okay, Christopher Lambert at least is trying something in that film. He's
Yeah,
a bit
something.
shitty. He's like a schlubby.
He's incredibly
elder god.
racist, but he's trying.
Every now and then he just laughs like, ha ha.
Yeah.
A weird little
It's like,
cackle.
cool. All right, he's an impish dude. Whereas
Getting
James
impish.
Remar just clearly has just come off from like, fucking putting out a fucking Marlboro Red, stubbing it out on his fucking intern. And he's just going, yeah, what am I doing? What's going on? Oh, they've cut my hair now. Sure, fine. You're like, cool.
Look at
all
my
right.
hair. Don't I look really cool and
Yeah,
mortal?
in my vest.
In your vest. Yeah. His attack vest. Yeah, like it's
very
weird, man.
strange.
But it's a skin swap out. It's like, player one
Okay.
Raiden versus player two Raiden.
Yeah.
It's like what? Yeah.
That makes sense now. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
really
I
good.
did see / hear on some of the so I watched videos from Mr. Sunday movies as well. They're Australian couple
Mhm.
guys talking about it, and I think they mentioned that potentially they had a few different kinds of takes that they wanted James Remar to try to kind of go a bit more towards Christopher Lambert's version, and potentially it didn't cohesively become one cohesive performance. But I don't know if I believe that, because he is very serious with his long hair, and then he gets his short hair and he's like, I'm the dude. I'm mortal now, so I've got a different personality.
He's just
Also,
like he becomes
Daisy,
a backpack
haven't you had a
wanker
bad
suddenly.
breakup and cut all your hair off and felt like you were flamboyant and free?
There's
I haven't, but I've heard many people do that.
there's an
Remember,
element
Daisy, you're
of
living a real core life moment there. Like,
he's rediscovering himself.
Yeah.
And
Everyone
he
has
just
to either
becomes.
cut their hair or shave their hair and be flamboyant free and have a hot
And
girl summer.
he's having his hot girl summer. He became mortal just at the time
Okay,
where they all
twice.
needed him not to be
Yeah,
as
so,
well.
yeah.
Um,
Again, the Mr. Sunday movies, the whole thing there is like when they talk about the X-Men films, they talk about somebody being Professor X'd, where you take the most powerful person in a movie, but you can't have them be powerful. So you
Right.
like in the X-Men films, they just go, I don't know, he falls over, he
Now
has
he's
a
in a
problem.
wheelchair.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, he's always been in a wheelchair, but it's just like I don't know. He has a
He wasn't
poison
in a
thing, or
wheelchair
his
in
head
first
has a thing.
class.
Well, yeah, but they give him a thing, a problem for the and that's exactly what they're like. They've given him a Samson-esque fucking haircut. Now he doesn't have the hair. Suddenly he lacks he doesn't. I've got the power. You don't have the fucking power, James Remar. It's gone, mate. It's done.
He's loving life, and everyone's around him like, "Why did you have to do this? Why?" And he's just
Put the
like,
patchouli away. Fuck off.
He's like, what do you mean we're still a day away from annihilation? Like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I'm just having my rebirth. Come on.
Yeah, it's like,
But we did point out
I'm in
how
my rebirth era. Bitch.
we did point out how it's really unfair that, you know, by the end, Raiden's resurrected, everyone's happy, and it's like, does no one
Yeah.
think about Johnny Cage? He's still dead.
"Yeah, no."
Everyone's
So
forgotten.
Well, so apparently in the proposed trilogy,
Oh,
they would resurrect Johnny Cage, but
Okay.
obviously this
Oh,
film did
that's
so
convenient.
badly that didn't happen.
the search
I
for
do have a
Cage.
question about Raiden actually, because I was like, when they said that his dad was an elder god, and it turns out that Shao Kahn is the brother, and I'm like, is this brand
No.
new information?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
Or
totally.
were
It's
we
not-
supposed to know that? Because no one is reacting to it
Is it
at
Bond and
all.
Blofeld all over again?
It's not. Yeah, it's not. That's not canonical to the
To the
like
insane.
But, like,
to the
when-
first few games. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. They'll be brothers. Fuck it. Like,
But
yeah.
like in the film, when that sort of comes out, and I'm like, oh right, has that already been said? Because no one, like none
No.
of the others were reacting to. Right, okay, so it
Nobody
wasn't just
really,
me
like-
being mad.
Nobody
Within
gives
the
a shit.
movie universe, they don't seem to care.
No.
Should we
No.
care?
No, not at all. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
it just feels again. It's Bond. It's the Bond Blofeld thing from Sphincter. It's just like who actually gives a fuck? Like, okay, cool. Oh yeah, yeah. We're not so different, you and I. Actually, we're kind of brothers. Nobody gives a fuck. Yeah, terrible.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Oh. I had a few fun facts before we had a look at some reviews across the board. We haven't spoken about the fact that Ray Park is in this
Oh,
film.
yes.
Who is Raiden's fight double, and they don't hide it. You can fully see his
Oh,
face
yeah.
in many, many shots. So good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Maybe this. Wait, so when was Phantom Menace?
999?
99.
So this could have well been on the show reel for him to
Absolutely.
get that part.
For him to get that
Um,
next
There you go.
later.
You can see it's me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. See, go back a frame. Yep, there I am. We've already mentioned that this has been a little bit lambasted by the cast, Paul W. Sanderson, but specifically Robin Chu as well. They both expressed their dislike. You mentioned Event Horizon, Paul W. Sanderson going on to choose to work on that instead of Annihilation. He said he actually regrets choosing not to be involved in Annihilation. It's one of the reasons that he's remained so involved in doing the sequels for Resident Evil.
Wow.
So it definitely put him on a path to quite an iconic franchise.
I can see that in that, like, if you were able to, like, Daryl has been saying that, like, every other fucking adaptation in the 10 years was shit, and you make the one adaptation that's good, you're like, yeah, I left you all a good place. Go on, my sons. You've got
You
this.
go home
And
and
then
you're like,
you're like,
Immediately betray me.
Well, like,
fuck?
I'll give Anderson this. When he came back on board as producer for the Resident Evil films, and he was producer on Extinction, which was directed by Russell Mulcahy, who directed the first Highlander. He was instrumental in Lyndon Ashby, Johnny Cage from the first Mortal Kombat film, to have a role in that. I think it was just like, I think you kind of
okay.
need this. I'll throw you a bone, mate. Like,
But I can just imagine being like, I was the one director that got it over the line, and I left you all. You were fine, and then
Mad,
you fucking
right?
fucked it. You're like, well, I'm never leaving anyone alone ever again.
I get it.
And,
I get it. Good
and
for
then
him.
Resident Evil had to suffer as a franchise for all of that time. But that's coming from someone who's never actually watched the films, because apparently they're so different from the games that I kind
They
of
are
don't
so
want
different
to.
from the games, which, like, in fairness, when they pivot away from Paul Anderson with that Welcome to Raccoon City film from like 3
Yeah.
years ago, which instead of adapting one of them, it tries to adapt 1 and 2 and smush them together like a fucking s'mores. It's just shit. It doesn't work.
And I think the same thing happened as like what you were alluding to with the 2021 Mortal Kombat with like the lore dump, in that every Resident Evil fan
to catch that.
every Resident Evil fans complained about Paul W.S. Anderson ones because they're nothing to do with the game's lore and everything. They've got Umbrella, but it's completely different to the games in every form. So then what they've tried to do is go, oh, people love the stories. That's like, I don't know, I've never seen them, but smush them all together. And then you've got Zach Kreger coming out being like, well, I love the games. I'm obsessed with the games, but I'm not going to do the story with any of the characters that you like. And it turns out that he wanted to do a zombie movie anyway. So again, I'm not getting the actual Resident Evil
because Zach Kreger has made his film again. It's only got Resident Evil title on it now, and I love the fact that he's been very open about the fact that if he had just adapted it, like all of the fucking like the sweaty palmed fucking fans would be there with their like little like looking going like, oh, how close is that to the they've not quite got Claire Redfield's like outfit right.
Why is it not fixed camera the whole time?
I'm so fucking pleased. He's gone. No, it's set in the world. Fuck you, man.
Well, I am pleased. I am pleased, but it turns out that he would have made this film regardless if he'd have got the IP, so that tells me he's not making a Resident Evil film, he's just slapping the name on.
But what is Resident Evil? Since we've gone
that's a whole other podcast.
First 1 to 3 to then 4, which totally changes things, and 7 changes things
totally.
again.
Daryl, you know how you're like, me and Jeanette want to get back into podcasting? That's your podcast. You,
Fuck
Jeanette, and Daisy.
Absolutely. Fuck that. Salt the earth. Burn it. Not happening. Because I can't deal with the amount of hate I get generally online from just having an opinion.
Yeah, an opinion.
As a cishet white man, my God.
You're not allowed those. Yeah. I'm going to move on to reception and reviews. So obviously it received negative reviews. Anyone?
You do for Bowl like it?
I want to. I want to throw this to Matt because he loves box office. Matt,
I do.
You guess how much this film grossed?
I haven't looked and I don't have it up. Like 5 million? Is it that bad?
No, you add a zero on. $51.3 million on a $30 million budget. Opening weekend take was 16 million. And that was enough for a #1 debut at the box office.
I mean, what else was out at that time is a thing.
I usually do look, and I didn't.
Did it come out at a particularly barren period? And like, this is why these films, again, the Uwe Boll thing always gets me, because clearly, those films don't generally make money at the box office. But like a blockbuster, the whole rental market was massive in the aughts, which meant they did really well. I think this wouldn't have done too badly from your blockbuster era, because everybody's like, and most of those blockbusters would have had an arcade or two somewhere in them as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm currently
on
the 1997 films, and this. Oh, so this in the ranked movies of 1997. This is 53.
I mean, that sounds high.
That sounds high.
Yeah.
Were we logging this shit back in 1997 properly?
So 38. I know what you did last summer. 30. Scream 2.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
22. Austin Powers. 11. Boogie Nights. 2. Titanic. Apparently 1 was The Fifth Element. So I don't know how.
Fuck off.
I have a link to I Know What You Did Last Summer, because Bridget Wilson-Sampras, who was in the first film, was offered to reprise the role of Sonya Blade, but turned it down for the role of Sarah Michelle Gellar's sister in I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997.
Good for her.
Better film. Worst role, better film.
Yes.
Agreed.
Precisely.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So the film was never screened for critics prior to theatrical release. That may
surprising.
also have had a hand in maybe not deterring too many people from opening weekend. In separate 2012 interviews, the co-creators Ed Boon and John Tobias of the games, they selected Annihilation as their personal worst moments in the history of their work on the franchise. Ed Boon's quite involved in the newer ones. Am I?
Yeah.
So Tobias in the late 90s essentially kind of dropped, like, from the studio, sold his, like he cashed out, But Ed Boon is still there. He's still going strong. I think he just in the latest MK2 trailer did all the voices, like in terms of like the announcing all the characters in the Mortal Kombat
Nice.
style to the Techno Syndrome kind of track. So he's so entrenched in this. He's kind of the Kevin Feige, if you will, of the Mortal Kombat franchise.
Well, yeah, he's got his little Stan Lee cameo in that trailer. The bar that Johnny Cage,
Right.
Carl Urban is at, he's the bartender. That's Ed Boon.
Yeah.
So he's making his presence felt. But yeah.
Okay.
Toasty.
Well, any guesses for Rotten Tomatoes? We've got our critics score and our audience score. Any guesses on whether the critics or audience score will be higher?
I'm going to go critics lower than audience.
Yeah.
You will be correct.
There'll be some fans.
I'm going to go critics is somewhere around the 20 to 30 range and audience is 40 to 50 range.
I got to say 0 for critic.
No, I know critics about 14 and an audience about 25.
Oh, so audience 24,
Ooh.
but critics is 4.
Oh!
Yeah, 4%. So, Matt, did you say 0
I
for
said 0,
critics?
yeah.
So, yeah, so its consensus is with its shallow characters, low budget special effects, and mindless fight scenes. I mean, that seems like a positive. Mortal Kombat Annihilation offers minimal plot development and manages to underachieve the low bar set by its predecessor. Got a couple of reviews that I liked the sound of on Metacritic. Overall, it had 11. Chicago Reader gave it 60. The most stimulating, satisfying aspect of this action fantasy is the theme music. I have to agree.
It's true.
We'll be putting that on any kind of like hype up playlist that I need.
Yeah.
Oh, if you need to go for a run or something, you will run to the ends of the earth to that song.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, go. TV Guide magazine gave it a 20. This tedious hodgepodge of martial arts mayhem, bogus mysticism, and computer-generated special effects doesn't even pretend to have a plot. Some really nice wordage there. A 0 from Austin Chronicle. The movie is nothing more than a perpetual chain of elaborately choreographed fight sequences that mix live-action foregrounds with complexly layered digital effects and are linked together by the most flimsy and laughable of plot elements. So people, we're not liking the lack of plot. And 0 from LA Weekly. It's cynical and it's depressing, and I would lock a child in a room before I'd show them Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
It tells me more about about their own psyche than anything else, frankly.
Yes.
I'd lock a child in a room. I'd do it tomorrow.
And you're like,
I'll do it again.
Calm down. It's okay. We don't need that level of detail, actually. I had a couple of letterboxd ones as well. I liked the sound of. Andrew Dupin gave half star and said, "This is, by the absolute loosest human understanding of the word, a movie."
He's from the We Hate Movies podcast, a great New York-based podcast. They're
Fantastic!
We love
that.
him.
That makes sense. The name of that makes sense with
Yeah.
this. Project Orman. Why did Jax take off his metal arms to punch people weaker? Good point.
Yeah.
Ethan W99. I don't care. Oh, this is a positive one actually. I don't care what the critics say for the movie. This is a very fun flick with great artistry. I love the performances, fights, music, makeup, hair, costume, story, and the very goofy moments. I don't necessarily feel like I need to say more. But like if you're entertained by that, by all means. J-Rock is solid. Don't want to know about that. Gave half star. Not many worse than this, dog, and that's a cause for celebration. Fair play. There's many, many, many films out there that are better than this, and that should be something we're happy about.
Yeah.
So, I would love to hear what you guys are going to rate this. Out of 5, half stars are welcome.
I think, I'm going to get it back up. I think I rated this 2. So I definitely know I rated the first Mortal Kombat a 3. Yeah.
I rated the first Mortal Kombat a 2.
So I rated the first Mortal Kombat 3, and then I watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which I rated 1.5 stars. I feel mildly bad, having done the research and listened to other people talking about it, to know that perhaps this wasn't the first picture. But I would also have to imagine that the people behind this film would also be mortified if this is not the final picture.
Mortified.
They would also be embarrassed.
I'm going to give it a 2 in the same way that I gave the original 1 and 2, and I think that hopefully aligns with what you've heard from me on how I experienced both, in that I enjoyed this one more, but I don't necessarily think it is better. I didn't particularly enjoy either of them. I think 2 for me is actually, I don't know, it's like generous in a way, but it's on the lower end, absolutely, compared to how generous I am usually. For me, it's something that's not good, but I can get through it. But it's, I'm waiting for it to finish. So that's where I'm at with that. Guys, what are you thinking? And I'd love to hear what your original Mortal Kombat ratings are as well, so that we can compare them.
Yeah, I give the first Mortal Kombat like a 3-star, but it's like a very close to my heart 3-star. Like, I can't, as a film, give it much more than that, but it's still upper echelon stuff. Would watch it any day of the week, kind of deal. This one, yeah, you're right. It's 1.5. It's truly terrible in that it feels like everybody is just making a terrible film. Like, nobody sets out to make a bad film, but it feels like nobody here really tried. And every element that goes into making the film is worse. Like the recastings, the lack of effects, the unfinishedness of it all, the writing being worse, just everything being lazier across the board, despite all the stuff they have to play with, having semi-adapted another one of the MK games. Like, they've just thrown stuff in willy-nilly and nothing really makes much sense. So it is very bad, undeniably, but for context, I just looked at my White Guy Karate Summer ranking list, where I've been ranking everything we've watched. We've done 114 films in the last 5 years. It is 71 of 114, so that tells you how many are worse than this.
But that's still bottom 40%.
I mean, yeah, it's still not good, but it's above something like the next Karate Kid, which I always maintain is absolutely horrendous.
The next Karate Kid also features the guy who replaced Johnny Cage. Is in this one.
Yes, he's in both of these pieces of shit.
He's the opposite of a good luck charm.
You are right in that Annihilation is, by semblance of having a budget and a studio behind it, a real movie, and it's that bad. So that doesn't bode well for it. A lot of the ones that are below it are like thrown together with duct tape and a prayer. It's that kind of thing. So they don't really have as much of a chance to be much good. So this is a high level sequel to a film that is terrible. But I can't give it any less than like 1, because there are ones I saved my 1-star and half a star for the truly like,
yes.
This isn't even anything I'm having any fun with moment to moment. I never need to see it again already.
This isn't a coherent piece of media.
Yeah. Whereas this, it may be a while before I see it again, but I'm sure I will. I'm sure I'll have another fun time. Because I'll forget how bad it is. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. Daryl?
So, yeah, I think this is, there's an element of scale involved in all of this. I don't do half stars. It's just not.
You're very adamantly like,
can't do it. Cannot. This gets a 2. The way I look at things, the way I use Letterboxd, the heart is all the difference. If it's a 5-star film, I heart it every time. If it's a 1-star film, it cannot get a heart.
Oh.
There are films that are amazing.
I've never hearted anything.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I need to give you some sort of Dr. Seuss-esque kind of picture book where your heart can grow several sizes for us to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I something like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which again, fucking masterpiece. For me, 4 stars, no heart.
Interesting.
0 fucking heart for me. I just cannot jive with it. I don't.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
Well, you don't like it.
No, I just don't. So, like, for me, a 1 star is something that cannot be. It cannot be. Sorry, I didn't have any enjoyment at all, and that tends to be the Uwe Boll thing of it's boring. Or maybe it angered me to the point where I was actually fucking spitting fire. But because 1 star is something that I had such a reaction to, I cannot deal.
Yeah. But you can't get a half star then.
Yeah, I just don't. But 1 star.
Yeah. So a 2 for you, Daryl.
And that is a 2. It's a 2 that, again, like with caveats, it helps when you've got an emotional support mat with you, plus emotional support alcohol to enjoy the thing. And I've never conceived of the notion of watching the 2 films back to back. And in doing so, it highlights not for you, Daisy, clearly, but it highlights.
Well, no, but maybe if I had done it back to back, especially because the last scene is meant to be a
It's
continuation into the
it
first
literally
scene.
just
So
dovetails into the next thing.
yeah.
And I think for us, literally last night it was like, right, piss break, another beer, bish bash bosh, let's go.
Yeah.
The song keeps going. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jeanette's sitting there in the corner, just like, yeah. Like, you know, it was enjoyable.
I feel
in that
like
regard.
I was the Jeanette in the room because that's basically how I absorbed all of this.
I'm honestly, after this, I'm like, and probably will be doing 2021 before seeing the new one. I'm actually, I've never watched more than the pilot episode of the 1998 single season Mortal Kombat Conquest TV show.
It was a TV show that was
the
on a cartoon.
Terminatrix from from Terminator 3, Christina Loken, who you've covered in Blood Rain, right? So she's in it. And yeah, it lasted a single season. It flopped a big floppy ding dong. They never made any more of it. And I'm actually like, I could watch that.
Want to be a completist now?
I'm in full on marking student coursework mode. So having something in the background, like you're doing the ironing, is like perfect for shit like that. Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I think I might play that Mortal Kombat game that was available on PlayStation.
Hey, that's
I've got
brilliant.
I've got to watch the 2021 version film before we go and see the new one, and then bank holiday. What are they for other than
I love this
doing
because
more podcast
you're
stuff.
going to be getting reactions for MK2, and we want your reaction for MK 2021. Like seriously, yeah.
I have a few more questions to ask before we do our top 3 for this episode.
Sure.
Do we think that it deserves the ranking of number? I think
100%.
it's 7 on the bottom 100.
No.
Okay, Claire has answered. You don't think so, Matt?
No.
Shouldn't be on the list.
No.
I've seen worse films this week. It's that kind of
So,
thing.
Yeah, great.
But if you say no, what film are you putting on the list in its place?
Oh, yeah.
Oh god, well, next Karate Kid if it's not on there.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's not. There's no Karate Kid movies on the list.
See, I agree. I think there is something to be said about the degrees at which a movie fails, right? So if you've doubled your budget and you've got all these resources and it's worse than the original, then that's a bigger failing than something that's trying with not much. But yeah, I still think it comes down to quality of a film versus watchability, and there's so many more bad films that are just unwatchable, whereas Annihilation you could stick it on as like a midnight movie at the Prince Charles and bring some beers and have a great time, where some of these ones, like, you would not pay money to go sit in a theater.
No. Left Behind, which I know you've covered.
It's already on the list, Daryl.
No, my point being, no, something like that, absolutely understandable that that's on there. I was at a press screening for that.
Ooh.
I was there, and I was like, "Oh, this is." I mean, you could have had a pin drop in that room.
I was going to say, did the air get like
worse?
out the
Like,
room?
it was uncomfortably like bad
really
stuff. And like, everybody left like we just witnessed. No, I'm not going to say that. That's actually good. You're going to have to cut that out. Everybody left like we just witnessed something that was so untoward. It was just like, oh god, like road traffic accident like vibes. Really terrible.
So what film that isn't currently on the list would you replace this with?
Like one of the later kickboxer films, or a No Retreat, No Surrender,
Bloodsport 8.
Or a or a
Bloodfist 8.
Bloodfist.
I'm going to say something that's going to piss all of you off, is that I would replace it with the first Mortal Kombat.
I love you've got this energy. You've got Queen Sindel Mortal Kombat Annihilation energy right now, and that's awesome.
That's brutality. That is. Oh,
it's amazing. It's a snapshot of where I was at that time, and I probably wouldn't agree with it had I rewatched it, but I am.
Are we talking like 4 days ago as well? Like a snapshot
last week.
Not like you were going through it like 4
years
ago.
Day after the other.
Jesus Christ!
Like within 2 days of each other. But my mood can change very quickly.
It's not like I was a different person back then on Thursday.
No. No, but what I'm saying is, I watched one, didn't enjoy it. Watched the next one. Oh, I thought it was going to be worse. This is actually better. But now I've done all the research. Oh my god! How many times do I have to tell you why I thought it was better?
Have you had a gas leak since? Like, what's going down? It's amazing. I love this.
Got no idea now where either of you are landing for MK 2021.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, I've no
I know.
idea. Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'd replace it if I'm looking at my reactions from each of them, a moment in time. But if I was to rewatch them now, it definitely wouldn't be that way. But that's all I'm saying.
We're unresearched. We're
Shallow and unresearched.
But we are
Get it on a
original.
t-shirt.
Daisy
Original
has
t-shirt.
opinions. Daisy has opinions that no one else will ever have.
Well, that's it, and I stand by, and I don't need to convince anyone because I know exactly why it's happened. It has no standing whatsoever. It has nothing to. This is a purely subjective opinion of. I wasn't in the mood to watch the first one on that day, but I kind of was in the mood to watch the second one on another day. And sometimes it do be like that.
But doesn't it tell you
That's how we
something
watch
about
films.
the bottom 100 IMDb lists? But the sort of person who is bothered enough that will then go and write a sternly worded email on the Internet Movie Database. And that's... Isn't that a beautiful thing to base a podcast around? I love that because that's just the rich tapestry of, and I'm going to say mankind because it's mostly men, clearly. And I dig that. I really do. I love what you're doing. You're doing the fucking Lord's work with this. You really are.
We try. We're masochists at heart to get through it all, but we do try.
Hello, Claire here. Thank you so much for listening to our episode of Mortal Kombat Annihilation. As it's quite a long one, we'll actually split this one up. So following this, myself, Daisy, Matt and Daryl get into our top 3 of the week, which this time is video game films. So if you'd like to listen to that, that'll be a separate episode coming very soon. Thank you again to Matt and Daryl for their expertise, for putting up with my interruptions, and for being great pod friends. Let us know what you thought of the episode, let us know if you've seen Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and if so, what you thought of the film, and also stand by for our very quick reaction as we came out of the new Mortal Kombat 2 movie that came out on the 8th of May. Thanks again!